Red Eye Radio. It'll keep you up all night.
Yeah, so it was a huge honour to speak with guitar god Joe Satriani. I have to thank my friend in New York, Narena. She hooked it up, and here she is with Joe Satriani.
Togsy?
Yeah?
Hey, we're in the Gibson tour bus, and they're just getting a couple of press shots of Joe.
Right.
Some guitar. But yeah, he is all pumped to talk to you guys.
Oh, cool.
So give you Joe. Joe, this is my friend Togsy from Australia.
All right.
Hey, Joe, how you doing, man?
Joe.
How's things, man?
Very good.
That's the way. It is an honour to have you on the show, seriously.
Thank you.
Man, I was
What's
just
going
looking...
on over there?
Well, you know, we're just hanging out. Mate, just if I could ask you about your dream, do you reckon you're living your dream so far?
My dream. Which one? You know, that people accuse me of daydreaming, writing songs about dreams, and which one are we talking about here?
Just the overall one. I'm just wondering if you look back on your time, and I was just reading the most amazing story about you, which I'll ask in a second, but do you reckon, looking back, that you're living your dream overall?
Absolutely. I'm so fortunate that somehow in this big world I found an audience, you know, that would listen to the kind of music I wanted to play, and it's really the fans who have kind of granted me, you know, my dream of being able to travel the world playing music every day. So I'm a happy guy.
Yeah, and I just like the story that I wanted to ask you about is incredible. It's on like the little encyclopedia thing they have on the internet, but it talks about a football training session and something to do with you hearing that Jimi Hendrix had passed away. Can I ask you about that?
Yeah, you know, that's true. That actually happened. You know, I grew up in New York, so as kids, you learn how to play American football, and so I was on the football team. This is before, you know, you reach that age where the big kids get really big and the regular kids stay the same like me.
Yeah.
So we were all kind of the same size. But, yeah, I remember being all suited up, ready to practice, and then hearing that Jimi Hendrix had passed away. It really devastated me, and I just turned around, took off my gear, quit the team, and decided to become a guitarist. And it's just one of those crazy things you do when you're 14, but I stuck to it.
Good for you, man. That's unreal. And then I know that you moved to, Berkeley in California?
That's right, yes. So I was about 19 years old. I moved to Berkeley, California. So I had been traveling. I mean, I was a pro musician by the end of my 14th year. I started touring when I was about 16. And by the time I was 19, I was looking for some different environment. So I left New York, moved over to the West Coast, and wound up in Berkeley, California, which is right across the bridge from San Francisco. And then eventually just moved right into the city of San Francisco. That's where I call home now.
Right, okay. And then you start teaching like guitar and stuff like that, but I'm just pretty much blown away by looking at some of the people that you've worked with who have learnt stuff from you. I mean, Kirk Hammett from Metallica.
Yeah, he was fun to teach. I mean, he was a great guy, very motivated, and had great taste in music. So he was always bringing in good guitar players that he wanted to, pick apart and find out what they were working on, and what were the building blocks of their style. And his contemporaries, who were also students of mine, were guys like Larry Lalonde, who was playing with Possessed, who went on to play in Primus.
Yeah.
And Charlie Hunter, the jazz guitar player, David Bryson from Counting Crows, if you can believe it, and Kevin Cadigan from Third Eye Blind. I mean, it was a whole bunch of these guys that were all contemporaries of each other, but played in completely different styles and had different, personal styles as well.
Yeah, man. How does that make you feel when you look back and you see these guys? I mean, you'd hear a Counting Crows song on the radio or Metallica song, I'm sure, a lot, and you just think, wow, I taught that dude some licks.
Yeah, I mean, but, Kirk and I are friends, and I see him all the time. He doesn't live very far away from me, and so it's, for us, I suppose, we are living the dream, so that's great. But at the same time, it's our normal reality, so we don't look at it as a strange thing. But it makes me proud to see these guys accomplish that, because that's exactly what we put all that work in for. I mean, and these guys are dedicated. Like Steve Vai, he was one of my first students when I was still living in New York, and he was just so dedicated. We practiced hours and hours every day, and sacrificed a lot to get where he is today. Yeah,
he's got an incredible story, Joe Satriani. More from him shortly. We're even going to play one of his songs, Surfing with the Alien. It's the first time I played it on the Red Eye, but one of the guys that he was just saying there that he taught, Kirk Hammett from Metallica. So it's incredible to think that these great guitarists that are in bands today really got their inspiration and learnt the tricks of the trade from the great master, Joe Satriani. More from him shortly, but this is a Metallica song. This is Hero of the Day on the Red Eye. Kirk Hammett from Metallica, coached by Joe Satriani. That's Hero of the Day on the Red Eye for a Wednesday morning as we jump back into our chat with guitar legend Joe Satriani. And when you look back, man, I mean, obviously I just bought a guitar like a month ago and I can play just a few chords, so I'm probably like, a guy who's starting out with a marathon. I'm on the first step and I've got 44 Ks to go. But you, as a guitarist, I mean, was there ever a time, Joe, when you thought, I'm not even that good at it? I mean, was it really hard work for you? I mean, you had to bleed for it too, didn't you?
Yeah, I think everybody does, and I certainly still feel that it's really a struggle. It's a hard instrument to play really well. And it requires constant vigilance with your, practice routine, and it's difficult to come up with interesting things. And every beginner starts off the same. We all kind of suck when we start, and, and we need some guidance, and we need time. You just need that passage of time to refine the sound of your playing. So it's difficult for everybody.
Do you have
that means there's hope for you. There's great hope for you. But next time I'm in Australia, I'm going to expect great things from you.
Well, man, if I can play along a little bit to one of the songs, like from live or something, I'd be happy. That's my dream, just to play along,
Yeah.
But do you even have feeling in your fingers now? Like, I mean, your hands and your guitar must be incredible. Can you feel anything? They must be so tough from touching strings all the time.
I'm sort of blessed and cursed at the same time. My fingertips really don't hold on to their calluses very long. So if I don't play for 2 or 3 days, it's like I've got baby fingertips all over again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, I think that helps with playing with a lot of expression because you're really always getting all this information, this tactile information from your strings. But it can really hurt sometimes when you're on tour and you wish you had, twice as much callus.
Right.
As your fingers are bleeding, at the end of the night.
Oh, man, it's cool stories. Now, I'd like to ask you, if you could look back on your career, it's been incredible. I mean, you're respected throughout the industry and kids in Australia, particularly in surfing, you're very popular. You're thought of as like a guitar god. You look back on your career, what's been a highlight for you where you've thought, wow, this is a pretty cool experience, and I'm pretty sure you made the right decision when you left the footy team that day?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's been so many. I mean, first of all, I mean, just every night I step on the stage, I realize that I'm super fortunate that I can just do that every single night. It doesn't matter where we're playing, whether it's, India or South America or somewhere in the U.S. And I've had experiences that have been more outrageous, like playing Australia for the first time, being a lead guitar player for Mick Jagger. That was pretty outrageous.
Yeah, man, that's unreal.
That was really the start of my career, although I've been playing for ages. That was the first time I'd done anything that was really high profile.
Yeah.
And being in Australia for the very first time, there was a lot of, awe and wonder, every day, because it was such a cool place, and we got to see it, through playing along with Mick, and Mick was just a great guy to play with, very exciting musician and great entertainer.
Yeah. And what was your favourite Stone song to play? Like when you're doing those concerts, what was the one that got you off the most?
Oh, wow. I think it's when we would do blues, like Little Red Rooster or something like that. Because, Mick, he's a real spontaneous musician. And so when you got to do something that was very spontaneous, you could really count on him to pull out some great stuff that you didn't hear the night before.
Right.
I loved all that stuff, but, all the classics were great, I mean, doing Can't Always Get What You Want was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. That's unreal. Well, you know what? It's been an absolute honour to have you on the show, Joe, seriously, and we hope to see you in Australia again soon. And, yeah, man, thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure the kids there at the camp there in New York are just blown away being able to sit in the same room and listen to some of your stories. So thanks very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Yeah, so there you go. All thanks to Narina. Joe Satriani, one of the great modern-day guitar players, well, really probably in history. Incredible stuff. And if you're a guitar player out there or in a band, I hope you got something out of that. What a legend. And this is a little bit of an example of his talents. This is Joe Satriani and Surfing with the Alien on the Red Eye.